Okay, well, this is certainly going to be something cool and different, for sure. I've never done anything quite like this before, but I dove into the great ball contraption business and designed my own monstrosity of a thing. Let me zoom out here so you can see the full picture. It goes way up there, of course, to start, but that's not the star of the show. The star of the show is this incredible spiral that I ended up slapping together here to make a really cool thing. It's certainly unique and different, that's for sure. Ever since I moved here, I always had these like weird pillar things, and I'm like, what is this? Like, why is this here? It makes no sense, and it looks really dumb. So I always wanted to do something with it, and I went to a recent LEGO show where they had a great ball contraption, and here's what inspired me to do this. I saw this, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. Hey, wait, I have these pillar things. Maybe I could do a mega one around that. So just for the sake of like experimentation and seeing if it will actually work, I put this together. So if I zoom back a little bit, you can see the whole scale of this thing. It goes up about a little over 8 feet. And let me get her going here and start her up. There's a little switch right here. Just hit that. And off it goes. So here's the little mechanism that I custom designed for myself. It goes at a pretty good speed and clip. All the way up to the top there, and then there's like a little path that takes it over here and then drops it down, and now you can start to see the balls coming down. One got stopped there, that's interesting. They're bumping into each other. I've never seen that before. Weird. So it's absolutely insane and crazy. Obviously a fully custom thing because you don't just go buy this. The one downside I will say about this is the sound, right? That motor, those LEGO motors are very loud. So what I'm gonna do here is kind of shut it down so I can actually talk. And when I do that, you'll hear the cool sound that the full thing is making. It sounds like a heavy rain. Like, it's a really cool sound. I love it so much. It takes about a full minute and 35 seconds to fall, top to bottom. And that's what you want, right? Like, very long dwell time to get the maximum sound. For a really cool effect. It's kinetic art, that's what I call it. It's very mesmerizing. But because that engine is so loud... Oh, by the way, when it gets to the bottom here, what happens is there's this little connector that brings it to the wall, and then it hits this PVC tube pipe, and then right on down back to the start there. Very smooth. So, because this thing is super loud, what I ended up doing was creating two things. One, an Alexa plug, so I could just turn it on using my voice. And then it runs for a full...
Which plug would you like to turn on? I can help with the front plug or the back plug.
Nothing, Alexa. So when it I did two things, like I was saying. So I did a full...
What was that?
Shut up, Alexa. So I did two things. I created two routines. One to run for one full loop of a minute 40, roughly. And then another one to do short bursts, so that it just keeps running and then stops for 10 seconds, or runs for 10 seconds, then it stops for a minute 35, because that's how long it takes to fall, and then it runs again. Because a new ball comes out every 7 seconds, roughly speaking, if you run it for 10 seconds, you'll get 2 balls per burst. So, Alexa, run the short burst routine. And there it goes, off and running. So it's gonna do 2 balls at a time. And then shut it down. And then this just goes on for like an hour. Of every minute 35, it triggers. So you have a continuous ball drop, but not a continuous uber loud Lego motor. And there you go. See, you get mega dwell time. And it's just awesome. You still get the sound. It's not as loud as having a full stack of balls falling. The system itself has about 40 balls in it. That makes like a full routine or full route before it like resets, you know? I thought I'd need more, to be honest, when I first started. I bought 2 packs. I think I bought 200 balls just to have. But I ended up only needing about 40 in the whole loop. These things, very simple to build. There's 2 of these green, wedge points. 1 plate that's 4x2, and then 1 2x2 brick. And that's it. So that's all you need. And then do that hundreds of times and you get this. So how I designed this was, I didn't know that this would even work, right? Like I'm just messing around here. And I didn't want to go all in it first. So what I did was I bought 300 because I figured I was going to need about 900 to do the thing, roughly speaking. So I bought 300 to start, and I did this bottom section, which took me to about there, about a third of the pillar, just to kind of test to see if this would even work. I don't know. I bought these little sticker things. In fact, I have some right here. A sheet of these sticky things. They're really cool. They work tremendously well, and that's how I used. They're clear. They stick right on, and they don't ruin your wall or anything. But they work tremendously well. These little dots to keep these stuck to the pillar. So that's what I used to get them stuck there. Because again, I didn't know what I was going to do to stick them on and how that would work. But these worked tremendously well. So really happy about that. So when I did the first third of the pillar, it worked out great, and I thought it was super awesome. And then I bought more. I bought another 600 to try to finish it. But I realized that the way I was doing it was almost too fast. You can see how they get narrower up here because I did it differently, and you can see how fast it will speed up here in a second when they start moving around like that. And I started having a high failure rate because they were just moving too fast. And if you notice too, the pillar gets a little bit more narrow as it goes up. And if you're doing it at this clip, which worked for the bottom because it doesn't fail down here, but because you're doing a tighter radius up top, the failure rate started to kick up a lot more. So I'm like, okay, I gotta shorten the widths, or how much it drops from each loop. So that's what I did. And by doing that, I ended up using a lot more loops, which is actually better because, like I said, you want that dwell time. You want it to be able to last as long as possible here. So I'm really glad I redid that and did it at a much different width. Down here, like I said, is still the original width, but maybe I'll go back and fix it one time or one day. But for right now, it works. It doesn't fail down there at all. So I'm pretty happy with it, how it turns out. Now you get a little bit of a change, right? Like up here, it dwells for very, very long because it's spiraling down more loops at a slower clip. But once you get down here, you saw the balls really pick up its speed a little bit, and it gives you that little extra boost of energy as it falls farther down. So that's pretty cool. Failure rate overall is not too bad. It probably, one drops off maybe one every 100, 150, something like that is kind of what I'm guessing from what I've seen and played around with. But especially if you do the short burst thing where you only get 2 at a time, it's gonna take a long time before it fails. And you can see the ball speed up there too when it hits that bottom section pretty quickly. But even then, it still takes a while to fall down, so, you know, I'm pretty happy with that. I bought the 900, and then I was about 100 short. So there's about 1,000, a little over 1,000 maybe, of individual shelves that create this spiral up. So because there's 4 pieces per shelf, you know, you're looking at roughly almost 4,000 pieces, I guess, if there's 1,000 there. You know, 1,000 times 4. So, you know, this thing ain't small by any stretch. It's definitely a beast. Considering these 4,000 pieces just to spiral up. I then had to figure out a way to drop it down. So I came up with this little thing, made from mostly 1x2s or 4x1s, clear pieces, and then there's some 2x1s in there too. To drop it down from the shelf that brings the balls over from the lift. You can see it comes over and then it drops and then it hits these little shelves so it doesn't like pop out super fast. And it actually works really, really well. I wasn't sure how that was even gonna work or do, but it actually works out pretty darn good. The big unknown was the lift. Like, how in the world was I gonna do that? So I tried different things over here originally, because I just didn't know how to lift Lego balls up 8 feet. And I did a lot of research to try to figure out a good way to do it. And I had thought initially, I saw someone designed this thing, which is a rack and piston lift mechanism. So if you can see in there, the balls, this is a great ball contraption like thing somebody designed. And it's all broken now because I kind of cannibalized it to ultimately get to the thing I used. But how this worked is, this is a little shaker that kind of shakes the tray, and then it loads the balls in there. And then there's, like I said, a rack and pistons lifter, so that if I set it down, how it's supposed to work is the ball comes in, and then there's a lift that comes up and then back around, and then it just keeps doing this. And I had thought initially, okay, pop that in there with this PVC pipe, and then you should be able to lift those balls because it's a very strong motor. You're gonna be able to just lift it up. But what I realized is once you get about a foot or 2 up, the friction that the balls create against the wall just really jam everything up, and it was just not working at all. I didn't know what to do because I thought it would work. Like theoretically, you think, okay, it has enough power to lift the weight of the balls, but that's why I thought I needed 200, because I thought I needed a whole column of balls to go all the way up 8 feet. But when that didn't work, I tried a copper tube because I thought, okay, plastic is kind of soft and pliable. Maybe the balls are rubbing against it and it won't work. So I tried a copper tube that just barely fit the ball. Like the ball goes up just fine. But again, same thing. Once you get about 2 or 3 feet up, it doesn't work. Because the friction points, even in the copper tube, it just wasn't working. So I tried that, it failed, and I'm like, okay, now I'm stuck. How in the world am I gonna do this? I thought maybe like an elevator system where I would like lift like 10 balls at once and then dump them off, and then there would be something up there that like evenly distributes once it's up there. None of that was working. And then I thought, okay, fine. Let me just do a conveyor belt system here and see if that was gonna work. Because I didn't want to have to buy essentially 16 feet of these because I thought that would be very, very expensive. It actually wasn't too bad. I think I only paid maybe $50 for it, all in for this setup. But after I bought it, I thought these were the bigger ones. Apparently, this is the smaller ones that has these little holes in them, and it's not like a standard thing that you can just put some, like the typical lift mechanisms I've seen. It uses these clips in them, but these are way too small for that. So I'm like, how am I gonna lift this? And then I realized the little guns fit in the hole. So that's what I ended up using, is these little guns. I put them about 1 every foot or so in the system, maybe a little more, 14 inches or something like that. And they work great. Like, this is fantastic. And how it works is it comes down here and then it loops around and it lifts those balls up. I'm just gonna start here so you can see it. On this one. Whoa. So, before I explain the lift, every now and then this stuff gets all jammed up in here. I thought I had it in a pretty good place to where it wasn't doing that anymore, but then something happened where I like accidentally kicked this thing and it like broke, and now I'm trying to figure out what I did to make it work again. So, you know, apologies, it does kind of jam up every so often now, but my little piece that's you can see right here, I left the thing fell down in there, so I gotta purge this, which is actually very easy to purge. So I'll show you how that works. You just lift that up and then pull this down, and then everything comes out, right? Purged. So it's very easy to clean if you do need it to unjam it or whatever. And then in here, there's just this little lift piece that comes up, and then I just pop this wall in against that, and it just slides in, and you can fix it. So pretty easy. Like I said, I'm happy how that worked. So let me fix this, and then I'll continue the story of how the lift mechanism works. All right, we are all set up and good to go here again. So anyway, I knew I needed a conveyor system, but then the other thought was, how do I lift this stupid thing? So at first I thought I'd just use this and then like connect to something up there and then just loop around that. But then I realized maybe that isn't gonna work quite as well or as cool. So then I came up with this little design, which is 4 of these windows, 4x4 windows. And then you have a 4x1 transparent middle thing. I had a better design at first where I used one of these and then a 2 and then a 4 and then a 2, and that looked way better and was way more symmetrical, but it didn't fit the balls, unfortunately. They wouldn't lift up through them, so then I came up with this other unsymmetrical design, because you can see like the window comes off here, but there's nothing over here because it's 4 and 1, which is 5, and 5 isn't, you know, part of typical Lego stuff, but whatever. It works, and it works really, really well. I use the same sticky things to apply here to these crossbar things that hold it up so it doesn't fall over, since it's 8 feet of these. All in all, there's 66 stories to raise it up to the top, which puts it at around 270 of these windows. And then of course four more of these. So all in all, you're looking at a little over probably about 500 pieces or so to raise this thing up to the top. Not including the mechanical mechanism to actually do the lifting, heavy lifting. But let's look at this. So I was just getting so frustrated trying to figure out a way to do this that I just kind of slapped this together. It ain't the prettiest thing in the world, but you know what? It works, and that's all I was trying to get to. If I had to do this again, maybe I'd enclose it a little bit more so that it kind of dampers the sound. But I kind of reused a lot of these yellow pieces that I had with this thing. To try to just, because that's what I had lying around, you know. This thing actually had like a thing that came up to about here, and then there's like a spiral thing that came down that, you know, brought the balls back to the beginning, and then it just looped through that. That's why I thought it would work, because it's specifically designed as a great ball contraption lifter. But once you get about 2 feet up, that ain't gonna work. The original motor's in here, that's the small one, but I did end up using the big boy for this thing, just to have that extra power, just to make sure it was it was powerful enough to lift 8 feet up. What's also beneficial is because I put these guns every 14 inches or so, you're not lifting an entire column of balls now, so the weight on itself is very, very minimal. Plus you have the counterweight because it's pulling this down essentially, right? And then lifting on the other side. So it's very balanced for sure. One thing I noticed too when I first put these on and loop it around, because there is a lot of pressure going in here when it loops back under. And you can kind of see it as it lifts. The ball's right there. There was a lot of pressure on those guns, so it was failing. Like the guns would pop off every so often. Probably at least once per full loop, the guns were breaking off. So I had to fix that. I ended up super gluing them. So I just dabbed the ends with a little super glue, popped them in the holes, and you know what? I haven't had a failure since. So that is working tremendously well. All right, so when you go all in, I'm probably what, about 4,000, 5,000 pieces in, something like that. Total cost of ownership, including the failures, which included this for 50 bucks and some other things, that I'm about $400 into this, which isn't too bad for what it is, considering there's 5,000 pieces roughly across the whole system. And yeah, 400 bucks is not too bad. It's like I said, it was a crazy experiment for me to just wanting to do and figure out how to make it work. I'm really happy it actually works, because it took me probably 2 months from start to finish to figure out how this all would actually, it was about 3 months. Yeah, it was about 3 months there, actually, now that I think about it, from start to end, because I kept having to redo everything that was happening. But, like I said, I'm really happy about this. I'm really glad it worked, because I was getting really scared it was not going to work, because that mechanism was just giving me so much problems to try to figure out how to lift those balls appropriately. But this is the grand plan, right? Is to have this right here to enjoy and listen to, and connect it up to Alexa so it just runs, and then it only does it so often, because you don't want that motor running continuously. A, it's going to burn it out probably, and B, it's so darn loud. Like, I don't need it to be that loud. So the fact that this takes 1.5 minutes to drop, you know, I can run it for 10 seconds and then listen to this for 1.5 minutes, and then 10 seconds of loudness, and then 1.5 minutes. So that's what I wanted, and that's what I got here. And it's really cool how it all came together. Who knows what I'll do if I end up moving, because obviously I can't take the pillar with me. I'm kind of thinking, if I do end up moving again, I'll just buy another pillar. You know, these can't be that hard to find, and you just set it up and kind of connect it up from there, because I really like the spiral thing. I think it's really neat. Another thing you can do is just a big zigzag. So like, I got the big thing up here that brings the balls across it, right? I could probably do the same step thing, but then just zigzag up and down the wall, back and forth, you know, for as many as I have here. It's gonna be the same drop point, just not in a spiral. You're just gonna zigzag back and forth, and then have some kind of like blocker at the end to like push it back the other way. I think it will work. That's kind of like what my plan B, if I ever need to get out of here, which I hopefully maybe one day will. Because it's too small. I got too much stuff everywhere. You can see the Lego layouts here. I'm out of room. There's no more room to expand, and I got a lot left to build. In fact, I'm going to start on that wreath next here too for Christmas coming up. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun. $400 in isn't too bad for what this is. I really like it. It's crazy. It's a monstrosity. It's half ugly, but you know what? I built it, and I'm proud it works, and I can't believe it all actually does work. Especially in the dark times when I couldn't figure out how to lift the thing. I thought I was just going to be out because it wasn't going to work, and maybe just have to manually run, like, you know, pick up a ball, and that's what I was doing before I figured it out. Put a ball up here and then just let it drop, because I couldn't come up with anything else to do or fiddle with. So alright, that's it. Wanted to show that off a little bit because it's hilarious and it's very relaxing. It's so nice. I'm all about the sounds and the relaxingness. Like you know, my computer's right over here, so this is where I sit a lot and do things on the computer and work sometimes too. So to listen to this drop when it's running is just so relaxing and mesmerizing. But I'm not really watching it. I'm more listening to it. I've had this too for quite some time. It's a water wall. I found it in an estate sale. This is also connected to an Alexa thing. I have it off for the video. But when you combine the water sound with the ball dropping sound, it's like, yes, this is so nice. I love this so much. I love the water sound, and the ball dropping sound is also awesome too. It just puts you in that mood. It's very serene and relaxing. And like I said, it's very mesmerizing to watch just drop for over a minute. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. You can see sometimes it lifts 2 balls at once. Somehow that happens, but it still works. It still lifts it appropriately. But that's why you see them all kind of clumped up together up there. Occasionally one will get stuck in this part too and not come out right, but the next ball will just come along and push it out, so it will work pretty good. So there you go. I think I'm out of time on this one. You can see my wall here. It's also very crazy, and I'll do a quick little blurb about this. So this was my Back to the Future wall. You can see all the Back to the Future stuff I started popping here. I got the hat down here. I haven't put that up yet. That's gonna go right there. But then I got, you know, a couple of DeLoreans made out of Legos and license plates and whatnot. So that was my original plan. I bought this in 2015 as the actual Back to the Future front page for the USA Today on this October 21st. Back to the Future Day. And then I started collecting too some animation production cells. So this is a real cell used in production in the show for Back to the Future, the animated series. And then I also did made a little DeLorean one too that I cut down because this was a tiny one. Again, real production art from the show. So really, really, really awesome. I love it. And then I got some Disney stuff from the rides, old school posters, and then these are Japanese versions of the N64 games you know and love. Found those at a really cool antique store one time for dirt cheap. I think I paid like $2 or $3 per. And I'm like, these are awesome. That's Pokemon Snap, by the way. Japanese version. Japanese GoldenEye and some others. I love it. So, not really Legos, but that's what I got going on over here on the wall. Like I said, I thought I'd just tell you what that was real fast in case you were wondering. Okay, well that's it. That's a cool little overview. Hopefully you were inspired or enjoyed or whatnot about the craziness. Like I said, it is something unique and different, that's for sure. And I'm so glad it actually worked and came together. And I'm really, really happy how this works. So yeah, there it is.